Hey there, 8-Bit Boys here. So today's project is to try and get this device here, which is the SX-64 Ultra Reset that I assembled. And what I want to do is make it where this guy will change the drive number on this 1571 inside this Commodore 128D CR. And right now my current idea is I was going to tap into this reset switch here that resets the 128 in the same idea like this is used on the SX-64's reset switch. I'm just hoping that it'll work just as good as on the SX-64. So, not an expert here. We're going to give this a try and see what we can do. So I'm going to start off by taking our 1571 drive out of this 128. So connecting this SX-64 Ultra Reset switch, the leads I'm going to be using is our red 5-volt power. I'm going to be using the blue IEC reset, the gray for my drive select, and then the yellow, which connects to the reset button to detect the button being depressed. The green one I'm not going to be using because this machine does not have Jiffy DOS, so we don't need to connect that to the ROM. So starting with the red, the 5-volt, I was looking around on the board, and there are several points on this board where there's 5 volts, but the one I'm kind of eyeballing is right here behind the power connector, and that is 5.1 volts on the meter, and it continues on down to this pad right here, which is all of 5.96 on the meter. There's also a 5-volt pin here and a few other connections on the board that do have 5 volts, but I think for ease I'm just going to connect to this pad. It'll be very easy to solder onto. That takes us to the blue wire for the IEC reset. I'll move this down. That's going to be really easy. On our IEC plug here, the center pin, which is right back here, I put a red dot on it, don't know if that shows, but that's where we're going to tap into the blue wire. This blue wire, based on where I'm going to mount this switch, which I'll show you in a little bit, will not reach. So I'm going to have to add a little patch wire to that so it'll reach over to here. So that gets us our power, our IEC reset. Now we need to connect the actual drive select or drive number. So moving back on the board here, right here are 2 pads that are very well known from back in the day. A lot of these machines have the little toggles on them to toggle between drive 8 or 9, and some even have an extra toggle for 10 and 11. But I'm going to tap into this bottom one, ignoring the top pad, because this bottom one, if I remember right, is for drive 8 and 9 select. And right now the 2 pads are bridged in the center. Hard to see on this, but I'm not zooming in all the way. But they are bridged, which gives us a drive number 8. And I'm going to cut that little bridge and solder the gray wire onto the right side of the pad. And on the right side of the pad, when we use our button to select, that'll toggle between drive 8 and 9. Which brings us to the yellow, which is what we're going to use to connect to our reset switch. And my theory here is, on the SX-64, you tapped the yellow into the reset switch on that machine. So I'm going to tap into our reset on the 128D here. And the connection point I'm going to find, or connect to, I found by looking at the trace coming straight out of the switch, goes right into that little resistor there. So I'm going to tap right onto that pad, and either everything blows up and this doesn't work, or it just flat out doesn't work, or I am successful. Again, I'm not a professional on this stuff, so it's going to be a little bit of trial and error, and I feel it's going to be pretty safe. So, and again, the green wire on this we're not using because I don't have Jiffy DOS on this machine. So that is my plan of attack for this SX-64 Ultra Reset switch. Again, my theory here is it'll work off our 128D reset just like it did on the SX-64. And I did talk to Jim Drew about this, and he felt it should work. He himself has not done it, so I am going into uncharted territory, and again, this will either work perfectly, or will blow up, or nothing will happen at all. So let's see what happens. I did forget to mention, where am I going to mount this switch? And I looked around in all the different areas, and one area I figured that's just out of the way and kind of a centralized point is going to be right here on the back of this 1571. And I even found a perfect little screw with the right washer, and it fits perfectly snug. It's secure, and again, it's in a pretty central point. So I think it's going to be pretty safe right there. At least I hope so. So I guess at this point, let's take this all apart, or take the drive out, and let's get going on it. And let's test that pad. And here's the top pad, still bridged, and here's the bottom pad. Bridge is broken. So our blue wire is going to need a little bit of an extension. So I don't have any blue wire. Next closest thing in my color-blind arsenal would be another green wire. Alright, so we want to connect this to our IEC reset. Okay. And then lastly, our yellow. We're going to put that right down there. All right, so for this green wire, which would go to the Jiffy DOS ROM, we'll just tape him off. There we go. I'll put the drive back in, and we'll mount this switch onto that drive and test it out and see what we got. Alright, so being it started up, no smoke, no issues. We tried booting up off of this as a device 8. I'm going to put in the ever trusty Bard's Tale 2 disc. This is the disc that has been known to detect if the drives are having read problems. It's a finicky disc, but when it works great. This was one of the ones that found, or led me to find, how this head here was just slightly off at an angle a while back. So anyways, let's go ahead and put this in and see if it reads it as drive 8. Awesome. Whoops. And it reads it as drive 8. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is hold the reset switch in for 5 to 7 seconds, which should reassign this as drive 9, and it will not boot off that, if done right. It's about 7 seconds. Did not try to boot. Let's see if it sees it as drive 8. Device not present. That's perfect. This is good. Drive 9. Here we go. Moment of truth. It's trying it. It pulled a directory. There it is. Awesome. So this thing is reading this 1571 internal as drive 9. All using our SX-64 Ultra switch. This is awesome. So what I'm going to do now is power the computer off and bring it back up and make sure it keeps it as drive 9, which it should. We're off. Turning back on. Screen's up. Did not try to read it. Pull a directory on drive 9. There we go. This is awesome, guys. Alright, I think it's time to go to 64 mode and see what we got. Here we are. Try it as drive 8. Of course, nothing. Try it as drive 9. Nice and quick. Good spell would be good. There we go. This is awesome. So I'm going to switch this back to drive 8 and make sure everything's reading right. So again, I'm going to hold that button down 5 to 7 seconds. It's going to reset the computer. It's trying to read it. Drive 8, it's booting off. And it's functioning. So, I'm totally excited by this. This is really cool. You know, I really don't think I even needed to install that, being we have the drive reset button on the 128D. But it's there. So this is mounted here for multiple reasons. The main reason was location. I wanted it centralized for everything. The other reason is this is grounded, because we have our ground plane here, which is grounding the chassis of the drive. That's why I chose to put it here. I'm sure there's a better place. Other people have better ideas, but I'm just excited. This thing's working, and I do not have to put an external switch on the 128. I can keep this thing as original looking as possible. So there you have it. That is Jim Drew's SX-64 Ultra Reset switch being utilized in our 128D here. He does sell these switches where you assemble them yourself, or you can get them pre-assembled. I did assemble mine. I have a quick little video I might put together in the future here, a quick bit video of me doing that. But you can get these through Jim's website. I'll put the information down below in the show notes. I would also like to throw a quick little shout out to Doug over at 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast. Doug did a video on installing one of these switches on his SX-64. It was only a couple minutes into that video when I thought, hey, the 128D has a reset switch and a built-in drive. Why can't we get this to work on our 128Ds? And sure enough it is, and I couldn't be happier, because now I don't have to go and install an external switch and put holes in the chassis of this computer. I had to leave it physically as original as it is, so that made me pretty happy. But I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and please like and subscribe to our channel. And until our next video, I hope you have a great day. Take care.